Oh, there's anniversary stream, hour and 36. We aren't going to watch the whole thing. We're going to take a look at this, though. These are usually pretty interesting. About an hour.
That I'm not gonna spill just yet, but stick around and you later. So having been here from the start, it's kind of special, and I'm extremely proud to be here once more to celebrate this momentous occasion with all of you. We have quite a lot of really thrilling things to, show you for the next year and beyond. We're going to talk about quite a lot of them today. To tell you all about it, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Eric here. But before, I also have quite a big surprise that I'm not going to spill just yet, but stick around. And we have something that you don't expect.
Always such a tease. Thank you, Matt, for the intro. Hey, my name is Eric Pope. I'm the community director here at Behavior. I've been here a little over a year now, and in that time, I've been really blown away by the passion of the DBD player community. It's really something special.
They're awesome.
They are, and we take it really seriously. We don't take it for granted. And kind of along those lines, for me being here representing how we speak to our community, I just wanted you to know that we've actually taken the past year to expand our reach. We also have expanded where we are connecting with our players, because the players at the center of everything that we're doing. We want to be in more places to hear your feedback on all of the things that we're doing. So we're now in the Xbox official clubs. We're now on PlayStation News. We're talking on Steam forums. We're even getting more involved back on the Reddit with the moderators there. There'll be more AMAs coming up from the team, and even live streams like you're seeing right now. We want to make more regular again. So look forward to all of that coming over the next year. Now, I think I couldn't forget the most important platform of them all. No joking aside, all joking aside. Actually, today we are launching our TikTok channel as well. We found that there's actually a really thriving DBD community on TikTok, and we want to be there talking to you, creating fun content with you. So we're really happy to be there now. But I think we should move on with the show itself. Did you know, Matt, that over the 7 years, there's been over 1.8 billion trials?
What?
Yes, billion with a B. And to that note, DBD is not slowing down at all.
We wouldn't know how.
No, we wouldn't, and we couldn't. So let's talk through what you're going to see today. We're going to kick things off with the Year 8 roadmap that's going to show you everything that's coming across the year to DBD. Following that, we're going to take you through the reveal of our next chapter, which is some incredible original stuff you're not going to want to miss. After that, we've got gameplay updates. After that, we've
talked about this before, guys. Dead by Daylight's kind of a weird bird. It has an absolutely huge player base. People don't notice it because it's not that big on Twitch. There is a ginormous player base, and majority of which are actually council. When you're playing Dead by Daylight, you'll get matched with council players a lot. And it doesn't show up. This is one kind of like the, not a dirty little secret, but this is definitely something you do not get by looking at Twitch stats. And it shows. It really does.
Quality of life updates.
Let's look at their chat.
And then a new segment has come to the show. This is actually something that's really cool. We're going to take you beyond the core game of DBD to show you how we're expanding other places and in other ways that you might not be expecting.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. Speaking of exciting, we have new cosmetics to reveal as well that I think are going to surprise people. I'm so psyched about those. And we're going to round it out with news about the in-game 7th anniversary event, which is better than ever, actually. It's going to be a really exciting one this year. And of course, as Matt mentioned, you do want to stick around for whatever he's hiding, because I actually know what it is, and it's incredible.
You can't tell them.
No, I can't tell you as much as I would like to. So thank you so much for joining us. Sit back, relax. We've got a great show. And now I think we should get on to it.
Enjoy.
Hear this. This is kind of fucking weird. Oh.
I can track progress. Amazing and a pleasure.
About those.
So, like, compare this to, like, the dev updates we're getting from Overwatch. Dead by Daylight, actually, I would say, is a small BHVR. I think is a smaller company than Overwatch is. Overwatch being a subsidiary of, basically, Blizzard, right? But it's not. Blizzard isn't. They aren't the same company. Actually, I think they are. They're just like a department of the company, I guess is a good way of looking at that. But I think they're basically smaller than, or bigger than Dead by Daylight is, or BHVR. And production value, guys, completely different. Absolutely completely different. Presentation, completely different. And in Overwatch, we basically sat through, there's like, 30 minutes of them talking about the new game mode that was terrible, like Star Watch or whatever it was. Yeah.
And we're going to round it out with news about the in-game 7th anniversary event, which is better than ever, actually. It's going to be a really exciting one this year. And of course, as Matt mentioned, you do want to stick around for whatever he's hiding, because I actually know what it is, and it's incredible.
You can't tell them.
No, I can't tell you as much as I would like to. So thank you so much for joining us. Sit back, relax. We've got a great show. And now I think we should get on to it.
Enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the roadmap segment of this 7th year anniversary stream for Dead by Daylight. I'm Stéphane Beauchamp, head of production.
And I'm Justin Brown, product director. We're really glad to be here celebrating another amazing year of Dead by Daylight with you.
Today in this segment, we'll have a look at our upcoming pillars for year 8, as well as our chapters plans and the archives and tomes updates that we have planned for the year. Before going any further, I do want to take a brief moment to give a big shout out to the amazing team that's been working on the game for the past years. They put amazing effort and dedication into that and really allow us to get the game to the state it is today. It's just absolutely amazing and a pleasure to work with the entire team.
Agreed.
Over the past year, we've put out 2 particularly interesting chapters, I feel, amongst others. But first, Forge and Fog has allowed us to tap into a new theme which we've never really had a chance to before. Medieval, which is something we hadn't explored. So our first foray into that and how that ties into the horror themes and all, that was very interesting to navigate. And the second one, for the first time, we have released a first ever sequel to a licensed chapter in Resident Evil Project W. Such a great and cool addition to the game, I think, bringing in a lot of characters people love, and they have been really fun to play with ourselves.
Absolutely. Wesker was so well done.
Doing
One of my favorite
uploads in the
killers to
background here,
play,
guys.
Personally. And it was right around the time that he released that we also did the Prestige update, making it easier than ever for you to sort of unlock all of your perks throughout all of your characters. We also, shortly after the Prestige
Their audio is
update, reduced
desynced.
the blood point total or cost in the blood web.
It's tough when audio is desynced. It's tough to figure out if it's before or after, unless there's enough of a delay between the two for you to actually figure it out. But their audio is desynced. Like, look at his lips and when he's enunciating words.
We followed that up with bots, survivor bots specifically. In
I think the audio's ahead.
Super useful. Practice your killer in a custom match. It's awesome. We did 2 important quality of life updates to the archives. One,
I said,
the ability to
there is a
select
lot
per
of people that play
role,
Dead by
and
Daylight.
then the second, just that in-game toast notification so you can track progress in a match, which is ever so helpful. And then last but not least, last year we said we were going to make our events bigger and better, and we feel like we really delivered that with last year's Halloween. Probably the biggest, best event we've done in Dead by Daylight to date.
Absolutely.
He's constantly spitting out skins, too. They're like fucking epic. No, not quite like Epic. Epic's the juggernaut.
The upcoming content you can expect us to release throughout this next year. First and foremost, of course, there are going to be, again, 4 new chapters that include killers. But in a strange twist, what you will notice on the graphic today is that there are also 2 survivor-only chapters being released in this next year.
Chapters
A
are
lot to
DLC.
unpack, changing the pace a little bit, but it's not.
Which is
strange
kind of
apart
funny.
from what
Like, when you talk about, like, fucking Overwatch, guys, everyone gets pissed off about Overwatch. Oh, you have a monetary transaction, you have a battle pass now instead of loot. Like, they don't even realize that they have to pay their employees somehow, right? Instead of loot boxes, now we have battle passes, and you can buy the characters, which is basically what every game fucking does. Yeah, just like, holy fuck, the entitled community. Meanwhile, there's other games like League of Legends or Dead by Daylight that are already doing this, right? Dead by Daylight basically being funded completely by DLC.
for the past.
And they
As
can
is
make a lot of
tradition,
money.
We will be actually taking a peek at the next upcoming chapter, an original one, and a segment that follows very shortly after this one. Again, we're exploring another theme we really haven't had the chance to in the past, so that's pretty exciting, both in terms of the characters and the team we're exploring with it. The next 2 killers that will follow after that are going to be licensed, and I would say licensed with a big L if I can. Really iconic additions to the game. Extremely excited to be able to talk a little bit more about that. Unfortunately, a little too early today to be able to do that. We've started to play with them a little bit internally and seeing how the characters are going to shape up, and it's pretty exciting to actually have those additions to the game.
Yes.
So more to come later this year. In addition to that, moving away from the chapters, we will also have 4 new tomes added to the game throughout the year, as we usually have over the past years. So, moving away from our chapters and archives, we'll now deep dive into the 4 pillars that compose the roadmap for the year, and as players will see, they're a continuity from what we've been doing over the last years.
Of course, and though the pillars might look the same, the projects we work on under each pillar changes from year to year. The first pillar is something we've already talked about, events evolution, we're calling this pillar. We do plan on taking our 4 sort of pillar events and making them even bigger, even better than they have been in the past, including last year's Halloween, which we plan on sort of one-upping again this year. But in addition to those 4 pillar events, we're also going to look at adding a few more smaller events spread throughout the year.
And for those of you who have been with us for a long time, you might already know what the smell of barbecue is in the game. I know you love barbecue.
Love barbecue.
We all do. For those of you who don't, well...
And by the way, I've mentioned this before, guys. Dead by Daylight is not like any other game, and there really should not be other games like Dead by Daylight. It is so weird and makes no sense that...
security, which is more important to us than ever in Dead by Daylight. This pillar both reflects the systems that we're putting in place to make the game more secure, but also the way we're communicating with our players. The first one,
it doesn't make any sense in terms of, not even realism, but just like gameplay mechanics.
A vulnerabilities disclosure program, which will allow us to work with people in the wild to report
like a board game,
about
only not a board game.
Servers, etc. And really facilitate us closing
those,
those
I mean, it's not even hide and seek, because when you start, there isn't so much hiding when you start playing at high levels in the game, at high MMR. Yeah.
In the near future, so
it's like a board game, knowing what abilities people have, what perks they have, and how they can operate around a certain scenario, and then figuring out a solution for the scenario you're in.
We're also going to be looking at revamping.
Not much like a first-person shooter at all. Or even finding someone and then they're dead. Like, was it like Prop Hunt or whatever it was?
Offer a higher level of transparency.
There's Dead by Daylight streamers try to get out of the Dead by Daylight category and they can't. They like VHS was one of the games they kept trying to bank on, and then the Prop Hunt one, whatever that was called, for a little bit.
We plan on doing that by doing live streams more consistently to celebrate, new chapter releases, large key beats, and generally just being in contact with you, our community, consistently throughout the year. One of those topics is very likely to be our next pillar, which is life balance, a topic that's, very dear to us. It's something I spend a lot of time thinking about.
It's what the kids all care about, is balancing issues.
And something that
I do. It's the best part of the game. It's not like new content, it's when they balance everything. Balancing patches. Same thing with Overwatch.
We'll have Nat and Jeff coming up in a future segment and talk about what type of projects we have planned for the coming months on that specifically.
Awesome.
Very excited, very important for us, and we know how dear to the community's heart this also is. A pretty hot topic in general, I would say. Last but not least, quality of life is a staple pillar on which we have continuously worked throughout the years, and this is all about the UI and feature improvements we make to the game as a more general type of thing. One improvement we did last year.
They're reading off a script, because obviously this isn't subtitled, right?
Communication between players, even if they're not talking with each other directly, to make sure you can always make a better.
Because there's subtitles at the bottom, which are before they say it, so it has to be a script.
In addition to that, you've talked about the improvements we made to the progression and made it faster to level up.
There's not someone typing this live, or when it was recorded.
A ton of blood points almost instantaneously, and just get it done and get it through with with upgrading your characters and leveling up much faster in the blood web.
It feels great.
It does. And finally, the map repeat prevention feature, which was released a few months ago. Which
games have
again,
that.
Another addition. There's a lot.
Which
of
is basically
maps
maps are on a timetable.
Felt like even if you're playing for just an hour, you're often tapping like 2 or 3 times into the same map.
Basically, there's a director that feeds maps to everyone, and they all play the same maps at the same time.
So
if you guys are curious how that works.
We're not going to go too much in detail today, or at least in this specific segment, to talk more about quality of life features, but we'll have 2 new faces, Rafael and Pamela, who are going to be coming up in a future panel and talk to you about some of the projects we have planned, and even show you a few features that we have under works right now and that are going to be coming up in your hands.
287,000 views.
Excellent. There's a lot we look forward to sharing with you in this stream today. And we thank you again for an amazing 7 years celebrating Dead by Daylight with us. And we look forward to many more. Next up is our friend Dave Richard to give you a first look at our next upcoming Dead by Daylight chapter. Enjoy.
Hey, I'm Dave Richard. creative director of Dead by Daylight. I'm super happy to be with you today to celebrate our 7th anniversary and to show you a first look at our latest chapter, Entrance Mission. Let's take a look at the trailer.
It wasn't programmed to harm the crew. It was supposed to help us build a safer home, but something happened. It became self-aware. It has no empathy. It doesn't feel pain. It learns at an impossible rate, and it won't stop until we are dead.
Their voice actor
Worse.
sucks. Cool. That's the problem. So whatever. So this is one of the problems, by the way, guys, of getting someone that their ethnicity matches whatever the character is. You're limited to a pool of people in that ethnicity group, and depending on their sexual orientation, apparently now you need to have gay people to represent a gay character. The opposite doesn't need to be true, mind you. So it limits you to a very narrow band, and then you have to pick from it. This guy, whoever this voice actor is, not very good at all.
As you just saw in the trailer, this original chapter brings us into a
Whatever ethnicity this guy is.
genre of horror for Dead by Daylight. We are going to explore sci-fi horror. So this will bring us to a distant, unknown planet.
But people don't
And
care
we'll
about
feature
that. They don't care about the
characters
end
from
result
possible
anymore, or
future.
what happens at the end.
Traditionally, I would be taking some time with you today to go over the characters and the map of the chapter, but this year we're doing things a little bit differently with a behind-the-scene video. We want to show you the process of creating a chapter, but also show you new faces that you might not have seen before, of amazing people that are working hard to make these chapters possible. Let's take a look.
Really, it's kind of a shame, guys.
We've prepared a very special
Like Twitch in
original chapter.
general.
On a de la chance sur Dead by Daylight d'avoir un lore qui permet beaucoup de flexibilité et de possibilités.
This is a big deal for the Dead by Daylight universe because we're going to
On Twitch,
explore
you are
a new
limited to
genre
a certain
of
number of
horror.
games, and that's
We're
it.
going
There's so many
sci-fi.
games out there. It doesn't matter. You can't grow unless you stream certain games.
I think that any kind of subject and genre can be rewrapped and reimagined as horror, and sci-fi is definitely not an exception. There are 3 big themes that we wanted to explore in that new realm. First of all, it's clearly an alien world. We wanted you to feel like you are far from home.
Other things that
You
still
are
haven't done that I
lost
think they
in
should do is
space.
add more dialogue
The
with
second one
characters
is that we
where they
wanted
talk
to
with
make
each
sure
other.
that the human technology looked weak, lo-fi, so that you never feel safe within these constructions that they've brought on the settlement. And the last thing we've added to the mix are traces of a long-lost alien civilization.
Donc, comme vous pouvez imaginer, toute l'équipe a été très excitée de travailler sur un chapitre pareil.
I missed,
de science-fiction,
Raised by
le gros
Wolves. Great
challenge,
series.
Et en même temps, l'intéressant défi qu'on a eu.
Very
ça a
similar
été
feel to
d'amener
that.
Cette consistance, cette relation entre les personnages, l'environnement, tout a été pensé visuellement pour que le joueur se sente en danger constant. Et la tension est accentuée par la présence de ce tueur.
By the way, this is how they try to present the game. In gameplay, you do not feel like horror in any way, shape, or form. It's not a horror game. But that's their atmosphere. That's what they tried to convey, so... I mean, that's good ambience.
Les joueurs vont explorer une jungle
Good atmosphere.
hostile et sauvage d'un autre monde. Tout est designé dans cette jungle pour pouvoir tuer.
One aspect I really enjoyed was that it was
None of these things can hurt you, mind you.
so we could make it super dense, super threatening in the organic.
The only thing that's
design
actually
and
capable of
design
hurting
the
you is the
plants.
killer.
Everything kind of looks like it could kill you. We try to have like very
But it doesn't.
creepy looking texture, very organic texture you would find in nature. We would try to bring it into the designs of the plants and the vegetation in general. The main
Budget
thing,
Harry
the
Potter?
idea was to show there was a safe space for the characters. As you can see, it's on stilts. It's elevated compared to the map. The idea was to show that the map is very dangerous and this place should be safe for you. But the interesting idea we had is that once you get into the structure, it's actually more dangerous or looks more threatening to you.
Cool.
The Singularity is an AI that is supposed to help the human crew settle on this new planet. But while it was scouting, it got in touch with a piece of old alien technology and was enlightened. And now it wants to overthrow and kill all humans. So this killer is an interesting take on the cyborg. We're used to see organic character using pieces of machinery to become more powerful. But the Singularity is doing it in reverse. It is a simple piece of technology using a cloning technology to get organic material and flesh to become more powerful.
Well, the inspiration of the killer design was, we always wanted
Actually
to
pretty
do
cool.
a sci-fi killer, so you're going to be able to go around the map and set up these biopods, spread your consciousness inside of these biopods, and then if you're able to catch a survivor inside of your reticle, you'll be able to infect them, appear next to them, and then you'll be able to attack them and keep the chase going. One of the
This is where
important
like
things
the
for
whole like the theming kind of breaks down, because then it just turns into it just turns into a normal game. And Dead by Daylight has a very formulaic way of doing things, which is why no other game should be like this, because it seems like this might be like Evolve or something. It's not. It's not. It is not. And the moment you get into the game, it sounds cool when they're explaining it, everything. The moment you get into the game, you realize that it's very, very crude and rudimentary in how you actually, everything's performed in the game. We're just do loops and shit.
survivors is
It's gonna be the same
testing
shit.
each other, working together. So with this killer, one of its abilities in the slipstream is that once a survivor is tagged or infected, you can spread that influence to other survivors, and it does so automatically. So survivors will be less likely to work together, and there'll be more discord between them.
La présence humaine est visible dans la map. On voit une compagnie qui a
You
essayé
guys
de
can
coloniser,
understand French.
de trouver sa place dans ce monde.
Why is
Mais
this all
plusieurs signes dans l'environnement que les joueurs découvriront
wrong
montrent
course?
que tout s'est pas très bien passé. Et le dernier survivant de cette
Sandro.
expédition loupée, c'est Gabriel.
Our survivor, Gabriel Soma, is quite resourceful. He's able to troubleshoot some pesky issues on the survivor side, and he's able to adapt very quickly to be able to bring the killer away from the
My
other
God.
survivors. He's able to protect the others.
So even though we are in a setting that's so far from home, in the future, we wanted to make sure that Gabriel was a grounded character, that any of us could recognize ourselves in it.
I'm super excited for players to try this map. I think it's great that sci-fi is finally in DVD. I think it's going to be fun for them to experience the creepiness and the threatening vibe of this map, and I think they're going to really enjoy it.
C'était un sacré défi. J'espère que les joueurs apprécieront cette relation qu'il y a entre tous nos assets, d'environnement, de personnages, à cause de l'histoire que l'on raconte. Et aussi par le travail qui a été effectué par toute notre équipe.
And then it goes back to basically your
apporter
basic
l'expérience
bitch
la plus
game, Dead by Daylight
immersive
gameplay.
et dangereuse possible.
I'm really excited for all of our players, survivors, and killers alike to be able to
Ooh,
experience
it's a
our
Mori.
first original sci-fi chapter and transmission.
As always, you'll be able to play with the content of this chapter during the PTB right after this broadcast. For everyone else, the chapter becomes available on June 13th. Before I leave, I want to take some time and thank all of you, veterans and newcomers alike, to play Dead by Daylight and to be part of this incredible journey with us. I want to wish you a happy 7th anniversary. May the year be filled with fun and surprises.
Yeah, they had
Next
a
up, we
massive
have
leak.
Natalie and
Supposedly
Jeff
massive
to
leak.
talk about some gameplay
As in,
improvements
it was a
coming this
leak,
year.
not that it wasn't massive.
Hi everyone.
Your
I'm
Automata?
Natalie,
No, it's a
team
single
lead
player
community
game.
manager for
I
Dead
mean,
by
there's some
Daylight,
single player
and I'm
games
joined here
I
today
pick and
with
choose
a
what I play.
very
We're gonna be
special
playing
guest.
City
Hi,
Skyline
everyone.
when
My
that
name
comes
is
out,
Jeff, and
the
I'm
new
game designer on Dead by
new
Daylight.
version.
Thank you
City
so
Skyline
much for
2, I
joining
think it
me,
is.
Jeff. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about a topic that is always top
And
of mind for our
then,
community.
dude, they hit all the fucking questions you
gameplay.
want to hear,
So
all the
some
stuff you
quick
wanted to hear
updates for you
talked about.
today. Jeff, let us know what they
Ah, Kool-Aid.
As you know, the game design team has many features and
Look
updates
like
planned
liquor.
for this year. However, we'll be focusing on 3 specific topics today. We're going to be talking about continued gameplay updates, map balance, and finally, plans to address face camping in Dead by Daylight.
Oh.
I'm excited to dive into these quick updates.
You basically have to face camp, and if you want to actually kill survivors, you have to, well, you not face camp specifically, but that's part of the strategy is actually whittling down one survivor, and that involves killing them, right? And survivors absolutely fucking hate face camping. They hate when you kill them. It doesn't matter how good you are at doing it. Like, they just hate when you kill them. Anything you do to try and get, like I said before, out of all the games I've played, guys, over the course of decades of playing gaming, Dead by Daylight has the most gaslighting I've ever seen because it's a 4v1 and it usually involves groups of people. You being this one person, this group of people will always try to gaslight this one guy, especially because there's more of them. They love that shit. You win, they'll try and convince you that you lost. Multiple times. I have fucking clips all over my YouTube, which you guys should look at, mind you. All over my YouTube. And it's just like clips of them doing that. And they get fucking pissed off when you don't buy into their shit.
So without further
so
ado,
good.
Let's jump right in. I know last year we launched one of the biggest perk updates in Dead by Daylight ever, and it significantly shifted the Dead by Daylight perk meta as a whole. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. That's happened in the past. What we're going to be focusing on a little bit more is the process that we're looking to take consistently moving forward as a community and design team when it comes to these gameplay updates. So, Jeff, what more can you share with us on that?
Well, as you said, last year we launched our biggest perk update ever in Dead by Daylight, and it had a significant impact on the perk meta. We saw a lot of perks fall out of the meta and new perks rise to the top.
Well, I mean,
This
that's
was
because they
completely
killed them
natural.
off,
Like,
so.
the players are the ones that drove this change after the changes went live. And it was super
I mean-
interesting to see, by the way.
No, players didn't drive the change. I mean, they did because they chose to use the new perks, but that was pretty straightforward that certain perks weren't going to be usable or other ones were going to be usable.
But moving forward, or for this year, we're not planning to have a major shakeup like we did last year. Instead, we've revisited our live design process to allow us to make changes at a faster rate. Instead, we'll be focusing on smaller, more focused balance updates with each update this year.
That makes a lot of sense, and of course, it's one of the reasons why we listen so closely to player feedback as a whole.
Survivor feedback.
But it does sound like we're going to be able to integrate
Not
some
killer
of that
feedback,
that
survivor
we're bringing
feedback.
back to your team, and we're discussing when it comes to these kinds of updates a little bit faster than before. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I think the best example for that was the previous PTB that we had. We had a proposed list of changes that went onto the PTB. The community gave a lot of feedback, and your team reported that to us, and we made some small adjustments. Well, we made quite a few adjustments to it, and it went live, and I think that everyone was pretty happy with the result. So our intention with this change is really to give us the flexibility to analyze, adjust, and observe the outcome more frequently.
Nerf sloppy butcher.
That way, similar to what happened with the previous PTB, if the change doesn't go as
There's
well,
definitely
then
some people that
we
should
can
not be
readjust
balancing
it
video
before it
games.
goes live, and
It's
even
literally
after it
just
goes live,
rotates around
like, we
wherever
still
their
listen to feedback, and we'll make further adjustments if
their ecosystem that they're in. So if they're at lower MMR, they're gonna try and like sloppy butcher is apparently a big deal at low MMR. Maybe they buffed it since I last played Dead by Daylight, but I don't think so. Sloppy's hasn't been good for a long. I mean, it hasn't been good for a long time.
The comments you folks are leaving about maps. So we are very, very happy to announce that moving forward, we plan on having map balancing as part of these regular gameplay updates as well. What more do you have to say on that, Jeff?
First, I mean, I can already hear the players rejoicing from really far away because this has been a hot topic for a very long time in Dead by Daylight. And I think you'll agree, and the players probably agree too, that most maps in Dead by Daylight are seen as either killer-sided or survivor-sided. And our goal with...
Not really. I mean, there's some that have like
design
really
process
fucking
is really
hardcore
to
loops, and maybe then they're
balance, make it more
survivor-sided.
balanced. So creating a
I've
more
never
even
really
playing
felt like,
field
oh my
for
god,
both
this is a
sides.
killer-sided
We
map,
started
though.
this process with the Raccoon City Police Department, then we followed suit with the Area of Crows map, and finally...
There's some that are
the most
advantageous
recent ones
to
with Blood
survivors,
Lodge
but
and
it's never
Gas
felt like there's
and
maps
what's
that are
great about these
advantageous to
changes
killer.
is that they can be as small as moving a small location for totems or generators to reviewing pallet safety so we can make a pallet more safe or less safe to bigger things like changing the map layout or changing building layouts.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I know our team's already coming through a lot of the feedback. Your team's already looking at how we can integrate some of that feedback. But looking toward the future a little bit more, what kind of maps are we going to be targeting next? I think I know what it might be.
We need a drum roll over here.
I know.
We really do. Because this one is a big one, and I'm sure that the longtime players will
Lemonade.
be ecstatic to hear that the next two maps that we're targeting are some of the most notorious maps in Dead by Daylight. I'm talking about two Cold Wind Farm maps, Fractured Cowshed and Rancid Abattoir. But what's important to remember...
Those are
is that
survivor-sided
integrating this into our design process
because
means that
corn,
we'll be
so
listening
basically
to
blocks
feedback
your line
and
of
making
sight.
further adjustments as we go.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also one of the reasons why it's so crucial that you let us know what your feedback is.
I guess maps that aren't survivor-sided are killer-sided then? Maybe that's how they view it?
Of course,
It never feels like I'm getting a huge advantage because they don't have corn. So
sometime before the end of the summer. So make sure to keep your eyes and your ears peeled for more information. You know I had to sneak in a corny pun. You know it.
work laser.
All right, finally, in terms of our quick updates, we have one more feature that we wanted to discuss, and that is something to do with face camping. So, if you're new to Dead by Daylight, if you've never heard this term before,
You don't want killers to win.
Face camping is basically a term used to describe a killer that's standing directly in front of a hooked survivor. They're not moving, they're waiting for that hooked survivor to die on hook, and this is usually happening either for a large portion of the match, if not the entirety of the match. We know that face camping can be very unfun for the person on the
You can't just face camp at high MMR to win. You have to apply pressure while face camping. Or proxy camping, as some people call it.
As a whole. So Jeff, tell us how it works.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that as an altruistic survivor, it's really difficult for me to play against someone who's face camping because I just want to help and I can't. So I'm stuck, doing generators instead, which is fine, but I'd rather help my teammates. But yes, so the way the system works is that the hooked survivor has a meter on their screen, and it fills up based on the killer's distance to the hooked survivor. So the closer the killer is, the faster it fills up. The further they are, the slower it fills up until it doesn't fill up at all because they're not within a certain radius. And once it's full, the hooked survivor can unhook themselves even in the second stage. And what's great about this is that they get the full benefits of being unhooked. So
self-unhooks.
A teammate unhook them, or they unhook themselves with the perks such as Deliverance. So for those of you who don't know, that means they'll get the haste status effect and the endurance status effect. So they're pretty safe at that stage.
That is so awesome here. I know folks that
that probably depends on the distance. You'd have to figure out what the distance is where you could actually camp them out without actually getting them to unhook themselves.
We're going to get, and that's what happens if the killer is forced to stay by the hook. So there's like multiple survivors swarming the hook. They're forced to stay in that radius. Is there any situation in which this feature might
radius for survivors
or turn off or be otherwise affected?
That's a great question. And yes, there are some scenarios where it either slows down or turns off. So for the first one that you mentioned, where survivors are swarming the hook, as soon as there is one other survivor within that same radius, the meter will build up a lot more slowly. So the killer doesn't have to worry about survivors swarming the hook and being penalized for it. As for the second option that we talked about, which was turning it off, once the exit gates are powered, the feature is completely turned off. So you can defend your only objective, again, without having to worry about the survivor unhooking themselves.
That makes a lot of sense. Of course, we're going to be so eager to hear what you folks are going to say on this
Don't want
matter.
the killer killing survivors, guys.
Part, it really does sound like this feature is targeting those most egregious cases of face camping where it's really used kind of in a...
Once again, I think this will basically come down to the distance you have to stay away from the hook.
Make sure that the match is as fun as possible. So with that said, though, when can folks expect
proxy camping in general isn't just face camping in of itself. It might not even affect proxy camping.
So our plan, which is subject to change, of course, is to have it sometime later this year on a PTB. And as with all PTBs, we'll be listening to feedback and making further adjustments before it goes live. And even once it goes live, we'll still be listening and gathering feedback to make further adjustments, just to make sure that
What about Insidious? Killer won't have terror radius. There's perks that literally function off of distance, not off of terror radius. So you might have misspoke. I'm sure it's just based off distance. But face camping or tunneling when you need to generate pressure. It doesn't matter. It's not about the killers. Slug survivors should be able to get a base kit unbreakable. Terrible idea. Breaks a lot of killers. They already fielded that one. Even survivors were aghast at the idea that they could just hit base kit unbreakable, which is kind of telling. If the people that constantly gaslight you and try to shit on you are trying to kind of rally to your side, yeah, that's pretty telling. I hope base kit unbreakable's dead. I mean, I don't really play Dead by Daylight, but
it's as good as
if I go back to it, I don't want to fucking be in that scenario.
TLDR, we are eager to hear those thoughts, so let us have them on the official channels as much as possible. We are always keeping an eye out.
Interesting. It'll depend on the distance away from the hook you have to be for it to slow down, and then how much you need to slow down.
Thank you for joining me, Jeff, again.
Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. If you're interested in learning more about this, please head on over to deadbydaylight.com after the broadcast, where there's going to be an in-depth article looking at all 3 of these topics in a little more detail. Outside of that, of course, more gameplay updates are coming this year, so stay tuned to our official channels to hear more news on that. Finally, our next segment is going to feature Raph and Pamela. They're going to be talking a little bit more about some highly anticipated quality of life improvements that you can expect to see in the game soon. So you want to stick around. You do not want to miss this.
We'll see you in the fog.
All right, it's time. Finally, I've been holding this in for too long. I can finally tell you all about our next survivor. Oh. All right, then.
Let's go.
Hi everyone, glad to be here to celebrate Dead by Daylight's 7th anniversary. My name is Raphael, producer on DBD, and today I'm pleased to be with Pam as well.
Hi Raph. Hi everyone. My name is Pamela. I'm the lead UI designer on Dead by Daylight as well. And we're so happy to be here today because we want to share with you some of the great quality of life improvements that the team is working really hard for year 8.
So before we dive into the good stuff, today our goal is to give you an idea on when we plan to deliver those upcoming features. That said, you know it is, sometimes priorities and timelines can shift, but we're more dev-focused live stream than ever planned for this year. We'll make sure to keep you in the loop. All right, let's get to it. So Pam, to start, I think you have something that the community has been asking a lot.
Yes, so we all know Dead by Daylight has been live for 7 years now. And if you have been playing the game since the start, there's no way your inventory isn't full of perks, outfits, and charms, and add-ons and items. Because we did release a lot of content back in the time.
Your inventory is full of a lot of trash. When I started playing, guys, till when I ended playing Dead by Daylight, I was basically at break even as far as add-ons go. There's a lot of add-ons you will never touch as a killer, ever. You just don't use them. They're just garbage. And you can't recycle them either. They just build up in your inventory. And they're just fodder for blood points. And there's a lot of people that have asked for, like I mentioned years ago when I was playing, a recycling system or a transmogrification system where you can turn one item into another item, something like that. And it's not, never came because that affects the BP economy. So basically how much money you have to spend to actually have fun in the game. It's essentially what comes as. Survivors can literally go naked and they'll be fine. Killers are very dependent on their add-ons, depending on the killer.
But last year, we did introduce the feature called loadout preset, which means that you were able to manage this process a little bit easier. But right now, we're so happy to say that we are building on this feature even more because we are adding finally the loadout search bar to help you find quickly whatever you're looking for. So on the loadout search, you're just gonna need to type in either the name of the thing you're looking for or just a word within the description and it will find it for you instantly.
So let's say I'm looking for the perks affecting generators. I just type in generator and voila, all the related perks will be displayed.
Exactly.
Oh, I can see how it's going to be a huge help for our players.
Yes, and not just that. We
So
have to say that
this is something people have wanted for years.
All platforms, and you don't have to wait for it longer either to test it, because this feature is going to be available today.
I guess.
To be update that we're going to be releasing right after this broadcast.
Amazing. We really hope you're going to enjoy.
Search bar for perks.
So,
there's like 5 million perks in the game, guys, so it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, there's no game like Dead by Daylight, and I hope there's never another game that tries to copy it. There are games that tried to copy it, but
we got a lot of
yeah,
requests
holy
for this
shit.
feature. All DBD players know that sometimes when a survivor disconnects, well, it put the rest of the group at huge disadvantage. And it's safe to say that at this point, it's not going to be an ideal experience. So that's why with our upcoming feature, once a survivor will disconnect, an AI bot will take over so that the game can continue. And who knows, maybe this bot will be even better than the player who just disconnected.
Yeah.
So joking aside, we really hope.
Well, a lot of
to
games don't do
alleviate
that because then you have to
frustration and
balance
help
it,
matches
so.
to run more smoothly.
Yes, and also to make sure that no one is left in the dark, what we're going to do is, as soon as a bot spawns in, every survivor and every killer on the game. They're gonna be made aware through the UI, as well as a sound cue, whenever they see there is a survivor disconnect bot in the match they're playing.
And right now, we plan to release the feature this summer.
Yeah.
So for the next feature, if you're playing online game, I'm pretty sure you're gonna recognize what Pam is about to mention.
Yes, this is something that we are super excited because the team is really working hard in trying to come up with an entirely new type of cosmetics, so you'll be able to showcase your personality on Dead by Daylight even more. So what we're talking about here is the player cards. And what means for us on Dead by Daylight is, alongside your name, you're probably gonna be able to assign a background or a banner and an icon. And you will be able to earn those cosmetics during the fall. This is where we're planning. But the idea is they're gonna start as standard rewards in every tome, and we're still gonna be working on other ways for you to earn those cosmetics in the future. So we're not stopping there.
That's awesome. Can't wait to share my custom icons and banners.
Yes. One last thing, Raph, I know you have something that ties everything that we're talking about here related to improvements.
Yeah, as we said today, we're constantly working on making DBD a safer, but also a more secure environment for all players. And the report
a big problem with
is an
leaking
integral
IP
part of
addresses
that.
and security
Right
issues.
now, how it works, at the end of the game, if a player wants to report people because of bad conduct, hacking, or other reason, they can. But let's be honest, there is not much visibility on that process. But it's important to say that our team has always been committed to taking action on this report. Soon, thanks to our upcoming feature, the player report feedback, we will let you know when an action has been taken against a player you reported.
And also to highlight even more, not only every report that every player does is really appreciated, but we are really taking serious and having those actions done on our side.
Yeah, and as for now, we plan to release the feature over the summer. And that's it for today. Thanks for another amazing year. Thank you so much, Pam, for being with us today.
Thank you, Raph.
Next up, an exciting look at what lies ahead for the world of Dead by Daylight. Enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
Ciao.
Ciao. Comic book. Dead by Daylight mobile. You know if it is going to be reflected with per response. I don't know if it'd be retroactive where you go back in and you'll be able to see it. So. Dead by Daylight Mobile's like almost a separate company to their current company. They like even have different cosmetic and mores and stuff.
Hi, I'm Stephen Mulrooney, Executive Vice President of Digital at Behavior Interactive. As someone who's been on Dead by Daylight since the very beginning, it's been amazing to see the ways both the game and its community have grown. We've added a lot to DBD over the past 7 years, with a mobile game, comic books, a board game, Hooked on You, and even the Dead by Daylight movie on the way. We've become a franchise with something for everyone. Today, I'm happy to announce that we're gearing up to get even bigger, expanding Dead by Daylight beyond our core game and giving players more ways into the fog than ever before. To bring these new experiences to life, we're collaborating with some amazing studios, one with expertise in multiplayer games and another with expertise in interactive narratives. So with that, let's hear a little bit more about what they've been up to.
We're obviously all horror fans here at Supermassive and massive fans of Dead by Daylight. Now we're thrilled to be collaborating with Behaviour on a brand new single-player interactive story game set in the terrifying omniverse of Dead by Daylight.
We've been working hard to blend the tension, agency, and branching storytelling of a supermassive game together with Dead by Daylight's mythology to create an intense narrative experience filled with powerful life or death choices. Our game will be set outside the entity's realm and feature the story of a new cast of characters who players will follow for an unprecedented experience beyond the fog.
This is a whole new way for horror fans to experience Dead by Daylight, and we couldn't be more excited to share it with the world. So stay tuned, we'll have more to reveal later this year.
It's been almost a year since Midwinter joined the Behaviour family to work on a brand new project set in the Dead by Daylight universe. One of the things we love most about the world of Dead by Daylight is the infinite possibilities.
This is a movie company?
We thought about the game's multiplayer action, which we love, and reimagined it in a completely
Obviously,
new
video
way.
game stuff.
The themes in our game will center around greed and the lust for power. These will be present in both the gameplay itself and in the stories of the characters who were tempted to enter a strange new corner of the entity's realms. Our vision is to create a multiplayer PvE experience where instead of facing off against each other, up to 4 players can team up, enter another one of the entity's realms, and take on a host of deadly enemies that occupy it.
This project is still in very early stages. We are
It's a
really
co-op.
excited about what we're doing and can't wait to share
Co-op
more as
shooter,
we go.
or co-op,
For more.
yeah. Left for Daylight.
7 years in, and the
Yep.
world of Dead by Daylight has never felt bigger.
Co-op
I'm
shooter.
so excited that players will have 2 new ways to explore the entity's
Interesting.
realm. There's still a lot of work to do before we'll have more to share, but just follow Dead by Daylight and we'll make sure you're the first to know.
Hi everyone, I'm Xavier Etchepart, Art Director.
Hi everyone, I'm Rosalie, Senior Product Manager.
We're super happy to be back with you today to talk about all the new exciting content coming to the Dead by Daylight store over the next year. Rose, it's been 7 years already.
Long journey.
Oh, what a long journey, what a beautiful journey, but 7 years old, wow. Dozens of collections, thousands of cosmetics brought to life with passion and dedication by our art departments. And yeah, along the years, we provided to our players an incredible amount of options when it comes to how to represent.
Kind of
themselves
fucking
in the
weird.
game.
Like, if you read chat, guys, like,
Yes,
three
it's a
quarters
lot
of
of
stuff that
artists,
people say
and-
isn't even
and
worth
more
reading.
are coming.
Like,
And-
there's people
and
typing
today
it.
we-
There's people
I think
saying
we should
things,
share
and
more
it's just
about it.
honestly
More
just
what's coming.
nothing.
Ready to share?
Yeah. And also, we
Or
we
fifths,
have
maybe
a
even
special
more than
guest
that. Like,
joining us
9 out of
together
10
to
messages are
discuss
not
about
worth
this
reading.
Unique collection we work on together. So, yeah, maybe we should start.
It says something about people, and that's kind of
Dead by
weird.
Daylight is a game, as you all know, that's known for its great
This is,
soundtrack.
I'm gonna take a piss, guys. This is still a little ways out. We're gonna watch the rest of this. I'm gonna take a piss and grab a soda. 1 second. All right.
For opportunities to explore like the music scene in particular in our cosmetics. And we have 2 collections coming in the next year that, well, although they've just come together and we don't really have any dates yet, but we really couldn't resist sharing. So here goes. First off, Dead by Daylight is partnering with heavy metal legends Iron Maiden.
Yes.
On a collection
I don't know
built
there.
around the iconic Eddie, who, well, let's be honest, he fits
Eddie is badass.
right into our game, right? All of the cosmetics in this collection will be like portraying his many album cover appearances, which are super cool. And secondly, we're thrilled to
Don't know who they are. They're
partner with
probably
Slipknot on a
metal
collection
band
that
in.
showcases many of their trademark masks. We'll be making 9 masks in total, paying tribute to some of the band's most iconic members over the years. Well, all 4 Killers, of course.
Yes.
So yeah, as we said, it's really early for both of these collections, but we'll share more news as we get to work on them. What's next?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to talk about our community, Our community, I mean, since the beginning of Dead by Daylight, they are super important for us, and we were attached to put the spotlight on them on a unique store collection since a while, because like we have fans all around the world who are also really talented and creative artists.
For sure.
And even if it's not the first time we showcase their work in the store, organizing
the competitions,
the competition,
right? We did that before.
Exactly, to appear in game. This year, we would like to take it a step further and unifying our inspirations, passion, guidelines to build something new together.
Wow.
And the result of it is the artists from the Fog collection. So I remember when we asked to our community to submit their work, and
we got
hundreds,
thousands applications.
Plenty of amazing applications, and we had to select some of them. So I remember we selected 4 winners from Poland, US, Spain, Canada. There is also a 5th contributor, as you know. We'll keep it for later, featured on that collection. But we invited them to select their favorite character. It was important, and we're super lucky because we ended up with a split of 2 survivors and 2 killers. So balance was perfect. And then we met and we share with them all these things they need to know to work on our outfits, like the technical constraints, the lore,
how to mix and match,
etc. Everything they needed before giving them the really precious maximum creative freedom to start their designs. And next we did this regular follow-up with them, and we achieved beautiful and functional designs, still respecting the artist's intentions, but also our needs. And yeah, we have, it was an incredible collaboration. We have beautiful outfits, because I think like all these creativity, these ideas, their design, they brought to our game, our fresh approach to it, new eyes. So it's, yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with the results. So thanks again for these artists to work on that collection was great.
That's great to hear.
Yes.
And also we have that 5th artist that we invited ourselves to be a part of the Artists from the Fog collection.
Yes.
She's an industry veteran, as you know, known for her fantastic work on like Okami, Bayonetta, the Evil Within series, and of course Ghostfire Tokyo. We're incredibly excited to have her joining us today to share a little bit about her designs. Welcome, Ikumi Nakamura.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Ikumi Nakamura. Dead by Daylight のコミュニティの皆さん、こんにちは。よろしくお願いします。
Welcome, Ikumi-san.
Hi.
It's great having you here today. But before we get into the outfits you created for Dead by Daylight, we wanted to ask you first, could you share with us what draws you to horror? And like, was it something that you liked growing up? And like, what's so unique to you?
Where you have to make up your shitty origin story that she probably doesn't believe.
ホラーに惹かれる理由は、 私もともとお父さんが小さい頃からホラー映画とかホラーのゲームをたくさん与えられて育てられたので正直惹かれる理由はあんまりよくわからないんです。なぜかというと自分の体のなんか細胞の中にホラーが染み込んでてホラーがあると絶対見るしホラーの作品があるとすごい気になっていつも見ちゃうしでもやっぱりホラーってなんだろうこう掘り下げていくと結局のところ人の死とか人の生きるとかが描かれていて非常に多様性があるジャンルだなと思って惹かれるんだと思います。
And you're creating 3 outfits for this collection, each featuring a character that really, really resonates with our Japanese fans. Could you share with us what stood out the most about each of them to you?
一人は、キラーの寒山鬼ですね。で彼は、呪いの、化身の鬼なので、私の住む国の日本の、文化を取り入れた、呪詛の時に着る服をアウトフィットとして寒山流にデザインさせていただきました。
So this is community designs, but they probably aren't actually like these are actual artists that are employed probably at a different company that are making them that just happen to like Dead by Daylight.
ためにそういう私たちの文化であるスクールガールの衣装をアウトフィットで彼女にあげてみました。でもう一人がユイで彼女はすごくバイクを乗ってるたくましい女性だなって思って大好きなんですけれどもそんな彼女の
Basically, they basically got free work. Like Dead by Daylight, BHVR got like free content. Like in Team Fortress 2, when they were doing like community involved, I don't know if they still do, but where they make stuff the community suggests, like they basically get like you could make an MS Paint drawing of it and then like give an idea, creative idea of it, and then they would make it. This looks like they literally just took what she made, put it into the game.
もともと4人でリージョンじゃんだから4人デザインしたらいいのかなと思って4人デザインしちゃったら1人でいいですって言われて分かりましたっつって言ってジョリーさんをデザインさせていただいてで今80年代とか70年代のポップカルチャーが非常に世界的にも流行しているのでそこの時に生きていた学生さんといえば、ヤンキーとスケバンだと思ってそのアウトフィットを彼らにあげました。
Do you think either of them speak Japanese?
ユイに関しては女の子の
Don't you want to bet she actually speaks English too? And they told her to do the interview in Japanese.
すごく見たいって思ったのがまず第一で次に彼女の
I mean, so no matter what, this is scripted. We know it's scripted because at the bottom here you can see the subtitles appear before they finish what they're actually saying. So it's 100% scripted. Putting aside the content, which is actually pretty cool. It's just kind of interesting to see the interactions and how they produced it.
バイカーの衣装を着てるからわからないんですけど実際彼女が可愛い服を着た時にどれだけキラーから傷つけられてる姿が見れるのかもっと見たかったんで比較的
There's all sorts of reactions. They range from oh my god this is awful to oh my god this is amazing.
動きやすいようにしてスポーティーなスタイルを取り入れました。はい。
Well, thanks again for joining us today, Kumi-san. The outfits look really amazing, and we can't wait for fans around the world to enjoy them. So the artists from the Fog collection, featuring work from Ikumi Nakamura, will be available in the Dead by Daylight in-game store this summer.
Oh, one more thing. I have a last announcement.
What?
And it will be a nice piece of nostalgia for any long-time fans of Behavior. Because we have our team, our big team, and an important part of this team worked on a game a long time ago named Naughty Bear.
Oh my god.
Naughty Bear. You know, this game featured a bear living in his happy community of bears, but he's going on a murderous rampage after they didn't invite him.
Five Nights at Freddy's?
I mean, what an iconic character, super interesting, and we were attached to bring it to the game since a while, and I'm super happy because now we're finally doing it.
A lot of people are thinking they were going to add Five Nights at Freddy's, the bear guy.
It's coming soon, this year. This year is coming.
Wow.
And we
wonder if they couldn't get the Five Nights at Freddy's IP?
A cosmetic He will be part of the Trapper cosmetics.
okay.
And we will give him a royal treatment. It will be a lot of fun for players to see him.
Awesome.
Thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed all these announcements, all the upcoming outfits coming this year.
Not a different killer, just Trapper.
And
arguably,
thank you
I'd actually
again
say the worst killer in the game.
To be here
Absolutely
with
the
us.
worst killer in the game.
It was a real pleasure to work with you. Stay tuned because Jean and Sarah are coming up next to talk about the in-game celebrations for the 7th anniversary. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, this time for real. Okay.
Cut! Matt,
Seriously?
we've talked about this.
No, but
What's so hard? We've been doing this for 5 years together.
But I can do it right now. It's like 2 minutes.
Wait
Seriously.
for your cue.
No,
Oh!
Hey there, I'm Sarah Robinson. I'm one of the associate art directors on Dead by Daylight.
Build that
I
hype.
help out with a number of areas of the
Still
game,
better
but
than whatever
events
Overwatch
are
is putting out, which
definitely
is...
one of my favorites.
I'm Gene
I
Escalante.
left Overwatch, guys. I played Overwatch 1 years ago, and I came back for Overwatch 2, and yeah, I mean, yeah, but also, yeah, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but it does feel like you're not playing a AAA game anymore, and it's like Apex feels like a AAA game. Fortnite is 100% a AAA game. Dead by Daylight, production quality here, pretty fucking good. What is Overwatch doing? I don't know. Like, they're basically self-emulating right now. It's like watching their after Kaplan left. It's like watching their whole development team just like fucking like just boiled down into a mess.
Senior game
Crazy.
designer on Dead by Daylight, and I'm focused on the events. And I'm so glad that I get to be here with Sarah, as 7 years ago, when
Like
I first became a
the
fan of
drama, the
DBD,
sexual harassment
she
drama had
me
nothing to
get
do
my
with their
very
dev
first
team.
tattoo, which was altruism, just 2 months after the game's release.
Oh, Sliver.
Thank you.
No problem. Happy. Okay. So, Gene, there's lots to celebrate this year. And we're kicking things off early this year with a month of in-game activations leading up to the anniversary event. So tell us more about these activations.
Exactly. So each week we will be celebrating a different 2-year period of Dead by Daylight's history. So that'll include characters, maps, and mechanics that were introduced during those periods. So for example, week 1 will be featuring the Blood Hunts. Week 2 will then be doubling the Rift fragments for your Rift Pass. And in week 3, we will be inviting you, the players, to vote for a community choice event, which will occur during the Chapter 28 release. And once the anniversary event goes live, we'll be doing giveaways for previous anniversary cosmetics, including outfits and the Year 5 crowns.
Twisted Masquerade was a huge hit last year. And this year, we're bringing it back bigger and better than ever. But the host of the Twisted Masquerade has actually stepped out of the shadows this year and has lent their certain special kind of decorating skills to our in-game event. What can players expect to see?
Well, the host has introduced a lot of various artworks throughout various areas of the game, so you'll definitely want to check those out. And yeah, Father Campbell's Chapel has gone through a complete Masquerade makeover, and it looks incredible. But
Our team for Dead by Daylight is pretty fucking good, regardless of the game itself. They try with what they have. They have a lot of talent there.
If you want to find out, you're going to have to take a closer look.
Speaking of masked figures, we're bringing back Masquerade Mask this year. We have 12 new masks for 12 new characters. But getting your hands on them last year was a little tricky. For killers, you had to make it through your trial. And for survivors, you had to actually make it through the exit gate. So how have we improved things for this year?
Well, the invitations that came out last year, Sarah, they'll be back. But this time, invitations will be holding charges, and you'll use those charges to kind of mess with the opposition while you're in chase. So if you're a survivor, what you'll be able to do is block the window vault so the killer can't pursue you, and you'll also be able to spawn a pallet, which can be used in an emergency, but it'll break right upon use. Killers, on the other hand, they'll be able to reduce the impact of a stun, remotely break a pallet or a breakable wall, and survivors better watch out about this one, they will be able to inflict the exposed status effect on you once they've reached a tier of bloodlust. But in order to get your cosmetic, you will need to make sure that you are holding onto at least one charge by the time that an exit opens, and that's either the exit gate or the hatch. So our players are going to have to decide what is ultimately more important to them, exhausting the charge to help them in a time of need, or getting that brand new mask.
Oh, it's such a tough choice. But I love the players have a mechanic now where they can gain these masks without having to escape the trial. So beyond the mask, we have a number of excellent unlockable cosmetics as part of the Twisted Masquerade event tome, including 2 brand new outfits. Last year, our guests of honor were Hattie and the Dredge.
They had someone make
as
props.
part of our Roots of Dread chapter. But this
The
year,
actual show.
we're highlighting 2 fan favorites, Nia and the Hillbilly. We also have a number of playfully chaotic charms for you to collect. It's worth noting, though,
Like I said, their art
that
team is
all
literally
of
on
last
point.
year's cosmetics,
Like they're working with what they have as far as the gameplay itself, mediocre. But like their art team tries so hard with what they're given,
now's your chance to go collect them.
pretty ridiculous.
Exactly. And keeping
But the Dead by Daylight community does not want different gameplay. They want the same gameplay. So
the event pop-ups
it's kind of like Counter-Strike in and of itself.
So you'll be able to find a
Just don't touch the
collection tab
gameplay.
and a store tab. In the collection tab, you'll find anything that can be earned through event gameplay or through the event tome. And in the store tab, you'll be able to find anything that we want to feature that is event related. And in there, you'll be able to find the Feng Min and the Ghostface outfits, which are brand new Twisted Masquerade outfits. So be sure to check those out.
We've got one more thing coming as part of the anniversary event, don't we, Jean? This year, we're debuting a new kind of challenge condition, random perks. This is exactly what it sounds like.
People already do this.
Real dice, and your loadout is equipped with those random perks. So this is a condition you might see on challenges that ask you to heal a survivor or down a survivor, for example. And last but not least, we're bringing back community challenges. So this is a great time for the whole community to get together, to work together
Other games
and
have this.
unlock additional rewards.
Or basically they have to do a certain amount of stuff, stat track stuff in the background
Community challenges.
to unlock things.
Stay tuned and don't forget that the road to anniversary content starts today.
And that is a wrap on the 7th anniversary show for Dead by Daylight and another year of
Not
content
quite.
reveals. Thank you so much for joining us and spending your day with us here. It's been as exciting as I hoped it would be. I hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget.
And then the lead producer has to walk on the stage after the director or whoever that was allows him to do so.
Jump over and start testing out things that were just revealed in the show today, which is pretty special. So thanks once again to our dev team back at the studio.
wait.
Thanks. Oh, right.
I have one last thing, seriously, before we
Please.
finish. I know we had some great reveals today, but I have one last thing that I'm super thrilled to talk about. We are welcoming into the fog this year someone, I mean, it's a brand new survivor, like we've never done before. He's an amazing actor with a career that spans decades. He's done everything, all the greatest movies you've ever seen. He's been in the horror world for a while with cult classics to cosmic horror. He will be joining the fog this summer.
Keanu
We're so
Reeves.
excited to have him.
I know it's Nicolas Cage. Keanu Reeves. Because they probably couldn't get Keanu Reeves. If you don't get this, this literally feels an awful lot like this was like Cyberpunk.
Everything you may think you know.
Now imagine that's Keanu Reeves. Yeah, this was totally meant for Keanu Reeves, and they couldn't get him. 100% meant for Keanu Reeves. I mean, Nicolas Cage is up there, but that if that was Keanu Reeves, that would have been 10x what that was, so yeah. Okay, so that's done. We'll take a look at the comment section on Reddit here as well to accentuate the content. The big takeaway here was obviously they have new artwork coming in. It's all basically going to be the same thing, more or less. And then the anti-cam system is the big one. So let's take a look at the anti-cam system. Let's take a look at the DVD Reddits. Face a counter, there's a specific thread just about it. The mains are shaking right now about the anti-camp. It's kind of weird. Like I said, in order for them to tackle camping, it's not because a lot of people do it well. If you know what you're doing, you 100% can fuck a killer that's just face camping. And I've had groups do it to me. And it's one of the things you have to learn if you're going to camp. And tunnel is you have to figure out how to deal with people that are trying to manipulate you. And they'll do things like hook blocking, for instance, where you can't pick the person off the hook because they'll block for each other. And basically, essentially, they have a second person come in and unhook the person. There's all sorts of coordinated plays that they can do and ways of getting around it. Average folks are not going to be able to capitalize on hook camping very well, just like an average group of survivors won't be able to deal with camping. Like, it's just going to net you like a 1 or 2K, and that's not even that big of a deal. 2K is a tie, technically. Either side wins in a 2K. That's not, like, if killers are doing that and getting like a 2K, that's not a win. Let's see. Wait, not stop to get this. I don't care. Night. Yeah, so the maps are pretty cool. Like I said, Dead by Daylight in general, pretty cool. Let's take a look at... Yep. Map reworks, loadout search bar. Into camping mechanic, yep. Bots. Killers. Gabriel's, oh, that's Survivor. With the killer. Hope the match will end with everyone DCs regardless of bots, or if the remaining players are dead, I'd hate to be a killer trapped in the lobby full of bots. How much you want to bet that's going to be the way it's going to be until people bitch about it? As someone with killer depths still to do, I love a lobby full of bots. That's a very, very, very niche case. That's, yeah, depth challenges are not something most people are doing. Can't wait to get power struggled by a bot. Curious to see what it's going to do to stats. Like, I don't think the anti-camping thing even has anything to do with stats and win rates. I think that has purely to do with survivors bitching about it. A lot of stuff that BHVR does is knee-jerk responses to survivors, because the game is, the majority of their money has to come from survivors, and they haven't really went out of their way to make like monetize killers, right? Like making, like, let's say generic Moris, which could be basically done with pretty much any character. Instead, they're all specific to a character, which means whoever buys like the character, like they don't even sell Moris. Whoever buys the character just gets what they get, right? Yeah. They could sell Moris. There's a lot of things they could do. Sell voice lines, sell Moris. They don't. I still understand why they don't have dialogue between characters. Obviously, they could just make it so the killer can't hear it. Adds a lot of depth to games when they talk to each other. Overwatch did that, started doing that, and I think it makes a big difference. Because you can tell the story through multiplayer. Leakers, I actually feels like they actually leaked intentionally. Anti-camping changes seem great. They actually added Naughty Bear. They added a Trapper skin. No one plays Trapper. He is the absolute worst killer in the game. He retroactively gives survivors time by putting down his traps. Then you have someone that goes around behind you and disables your traps. Only you're in a chase with them, but you never actually hurt them. Because you aren't chasing them, you're chasing the trap disables. Never Trapper. Yeah, high quality broadcasts. It's pretty good. Not as big as last year in terms of adjustments and what they did and how much it affects gameplay. This one's mainly more about pre-announcements, I guess you could say, for upcoming DLC. It's mainly just pre-announcements for upcoming DLC. Bots are kind of but I mean, it's something. And basically the hook camping perk was the big thing. Anti-camping perk. Someone in the dev team apparently caved to that one. But the majority of their game is funded by survivors, so they generally always edge towards survivors rather towards killer. Killer always gets shafted, for the most part. They are the moneymaker. I love it. Everyone forgot about the twins. Wasn't really. And there you go, guys. And there you fucking go. The twins are still a killer that exists. Yeah. Yep. Here's my honest concern. I see nothing on the roadmap that I'd describe as killer quality of life improvements. There isn't, because the game's not about killers in any way, shape, or form. So they stuck their hand up the killer's ass, and yeah, they didn't even give him a prostate massage. 2 points, and a big one, because nothing in there was for killers at all. And killers that actually know what they're doing right now are like, fuck, that sucks. Because you have to camp and tunnel. That's just part of the game. If you want to win at high MMR, you have to do that. Otherwise, you get shit all over. The only thing I could see for remotely describe improvements for killer quality of life is DC bots, since they won't allow survivors to deny adepts anymore. If bots count. I'm sure they do count, but yeah. Adepts are kind of like a niche thing, so yeah. I mean, sure, if you want your achievements. No pride charms? You can always get a pride charm. There's like code for it. It works forever. Yeah. Let's see all the jerking off about hook camping or tunneling. Here. Survivors forming also slows the bar, but hopefully vertical terror radius is taken into account on a killer on a separate floor from stairs isn't a threat. Yeah, there's like, yeah. And then all their perks are going to work off the hook too. So it's not even like getting off hooked. Insidious is a well-established camping tool only for bubbas. Insidious, I never took Insidious. I tried it once and it just made people do weird shit. Because they knew I had Insidious, and then they'd just pound gens. It made incentivizes the wrong behavior as someone that's tunneling and camping. You want to give people the idea that they can possibly win. And that's what you capitalize on, is their ability to overthink their own abilities. Them overthinking their own abilities. Or prioritizing over valuing their own ability. Complain about Nurse still. Hey guys, we saw face camping now. You can unhook yourself in front of face camping Bubba. Face camping Bubba is shit-eating grin. Okay. People complained about Pinhead's face camping. I feel like this is only going to encourage bleeding people out. Eventuality. Knockout's a terrible perk. I don't know why YouTube music turns off my repeat. Curious how this will affect basement camping, since camping in the basement entrance is very close to the hooks. I hope it doesn't do anything, because basements should be a lethal place to get hooked. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like it's where you don't want to go as a survivor. Yeah, you can't. It's added because back in the day, you hook breaks were permanent. Well, I mean, what's wrong with having an advantageous position for someone in the game that involves strategy and tactics? Don't want strategy and tactics in your video game, do you? This is Survivor shit. Block stairs, wait out BT. You can't always do that. People can get by you. I started that, mind you. I was the one that started body blocking basement. I did that 3 years ago. But because you don't have anyone watching, you're not credited for it, so almost no one watching. No, you didn't? Yeah, go look at my videos. I suspect proxy camping will be the next complaint. It always goes that way. I mean, that's how you have to play the game if you want to win, so. Killers can win. They're allowed to try and win. Survivors don't want them to, but killers are allowed to actually try and win. Prediction, the feedback on this will be negative. We'll know we go live on other than the PTB. No way. Fucking way. That's going live. People are going to complain about it regardless, because people are still going to die because killers doing smart things kill people. And survivors, it doesn't matter how often it happens. People will just be like, no, I'm a survivor. I should never die. That's like literally what they think in their mind. I'm a survivor. Killers don't deserve to kill me. And in-game, in Dead by Daylight. And you're like, yeah, what happens when you get outplayed? You're not allowed to outplay me. And you're like, Wait, why? What do you mean I'm not allowed to outplay you? And yeah, it's to them, they're the only ones that are allowed to win. And that's not where you are in a balanced game. People are allowed to try and win on both sides. Ah, fucking ridiculous. They want to do a fucking pyramid head thing where they just go to the opposite sides, like literally musical chairs with hooks, so killers can't play around them at all. People are fucking stupid. That's fucking crazy. They, like, literally, as long as it benefits them, they don't care, because they don't play the other side, basically, is what it comes down to. Which would be alright if you could actually think about the other side from the perspective of the other side, but they can't. They're just like, I want this thing, like, why don't you just have a button that nukes the killer? You just push it and an orbital laser just comes out of the sky and they explode. That'd be a great idea. We should do that. Implement it right now. And this will actually incentivize camping more. The reason, because now the killer knows the survivor can unhook themselves, there's a greater likelihood that they'll do so, and they can opt to tunnel them out much faster. My guess is you're going to pick and choose when you can unhook yourself, so... No, going to a second stage and then unhooking yourself would still add more time than if you just went to second stage. Then you have borrowed time on top of it. Please skip borrowed time. Here up, there's an AoE HUD indicator for killers. I wouldn't want to lose my hook to proximity just because the hook is within a certain path. There isn't going to be a... they almost never give UE elements to killers. You're just left in the dark. You're supposed to figure it out yourself. Which is one of the reasons there's a lot more survivors than killers, because it's much more difficult. Okay.